The scripture says, the Spirit, I have favor, I'm coming out of debt, angels go to work. Positive, I have favor, I'm coming out of your mouth. There is freedom in your mouth. There are new levels. Positive, you
control of this. You actually can control what this does. No one else is in charge. If you allowed him in. If God is operating up there, it's because you gave him permission.
Your mouth. There is freedom.
It's not a magic trick, man. If you want to be thinking from your life, not control of this. You actually can control what this does. No one, you allowed him in. If God is operating, how they work, I get rid of them. It's not a magic trick of thinking from your life. Now, it's not going to say you're not going to ever have a negative thought. That's not human for negativity. The best way to mask yourself from negativity with gratitude. I'm telling you, man, it's a very simple process. Now, there are some books that you can buy. How they work, I get rid of them. Change in my life. Then I read a book called The Magic of Thinking Big. Power to think big than it does small. Big thinking gets rid with gratitude. I'm telling you, man, that you operate. When you pray, God ain't the only one here to pray. Very old book. It's only in paperback. Track. Devil ain't got but one job. He don't want you to be successful. Ain't busy, man. He say something funky about her by using your success compared to other people. See, because here's the danger. Let me teach you this. Success is not that you operate. When you pray, see, that's your success. Track. Devil ain't got anything else. Busy, man. But you mean to tell me that I ain't smart enough to go say something funky about her?
And family.
I love.
By you.
The real reason is I do. It usually goes more because I'm enjoying.
See, you go.
Because I don't want to be the astronaut that, he went to the moon. That was his idea of adventure. Anything. And the reason for gratitude is the two emotions that mess us up the most are fear and anger.
Yeah.
And you can't be grateful and fearful simultaneously. They don't go together.
Anything else?
You can't be angry and grateful simultaneously. So if you, my three to thrive, what if?
But you mean to tell me that I ain't smart enough to go?
The daily you have to prime yourself a little bigger. And then, and so wired. Now I've done that for years. It's been the basic. Okay, I am like.
I love.
Now the real reason is I do. It usually goes more because I'm enjoying.
It goes back to grazing when the event is over. And the definition of stress is when your brain and body are not.
Because I don't want to be the astronaut.
Innately does to return itself back. It's over and boom. Now everything's back.
Anything. And the reason for gratitude.
Co-work.
You can't be angry. My three to thrive. What if?
Response just by thought alone. We think about our problems and turn on those chemicals. That means then our thoughts could make us sick.
It's a little bigger. And then
Our thoughts could make
us. If you're going to grow your business, if you're going to be able to support your mom, it's so wired. Now you're going to have to get new action. We all know that. Okay, how do I love more? Love to me is an action. It's not a word, not emotions. We don't have new actions because we get behave very differently and get very different results. And then if you were in a place of not changing your life in any situation is, to change results, you got to change behavior.
survival. Now, all
are playing the program you're struggling to try to accomplish.
it goes back to grazing when the event
Your subconscious,
innately does to return itself back.
whatever you're struggling to overcome.
It's over and boom. Now everything's back to coworker sitting right next to you.
You don't have to review your life. You can look right now. At this one moment, just look in your head and say, what are the things that I keep trying to get? And they seem to be elusive and they're always out of reach.
Turning on those chemicals because they're pushing all.
Understand where the issues are and you start to really function. The first idea, you can change the programming. You can.
Your cortex responds just by thought. Our thoughts could make.
Because once it's in the subconscious is your freedom.
If you're going to grow your business
on one thing for a prolonged period of time. So
we don't behave very differently and get very different results. And then if you were in a place of being courageous or bold or warm or connected or playful, any of those. So the most important key to changing your life in any situation is to change results, you got to change behavior. But to change behavior, you got to change the emotional state you're in.
The fact is this. You are playing the program 95% of the day, meaning your life is a printout of your program. Anything you're struggling to try to accomplish, whether it's health or love, relationships, whatever it is, if you're struggling, it represents a simple fact. Your subconscious programming doesn't support that conclusion. So the fact is, what are my programs? look at your struggle. And wherever you're struggling, the struggle is not because the universe won't provide for you. The struggle is an internal job. The struggle is you're trying to overcome previous programming that prevents you to go to that destination. So the wonderful part about this understanding is you don't have to review your life. You can look right now at this one moment, just look in your head and say, what are the things that I keep trying to get and they seem to be elusive? I can't get them. They're always out of reach. I say, the universe is not holding back. It's your own invisible subconscious behavior. And once you understand where the issues are and you start to really focus on the point that it's not the universe that's providing the trouble, it's myself, you have the first inclination, the first idea, the first understanding of how to change your life, because now you know exactly what issue is confronting you. You can change the programming. You can rewrite your subconscious programs. If you took the wishes and desires of the conscious mind and use that as a program to put the beliefs into the subconscious mind, it's the most exciting and liberating thing you can ever do in your life. You know why? Because once it's in the subconscious program, 95% of the day, without you even thinking about it, your mind will take you to that direction. And that is your freedom.
I define concentration as the ability to keep that awareness on one thing for a prolonged period of time. So if I can keep my awareness on Eric and not drift away and think about the wedding, or drift away and think about the vacation, or what I'm going to do later, then I'm concentrating on Eric. Every time it drifts away, I bring it back. And the more I practice this, the more I practice concentration. So concentration is the ability to keep your awareness on one thing for a prolonged period of time. And that's a very simple definition of concentration. How do you get better at concentration? You practice this. You practice this 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And it's the only way to get good at it. And what's the best way to practice it? The best way to practice it is to integrate it into everything that you do in your life. Not to meditate 10 minutes in the morning. It doesn't work. You really need...
Tưởng vào duyên số, nhưng nếu em cho số đảm bảo mình nên duyên đấy. Từ khi gặp em Google hết tác dụng, bởi em là tất cả những gì anh cần tìm, giống một kho báu để ngăn người khác đụng tới. Đối đầu thế giới anh cũng sẵn sàng cân tím, ghét phải lặng im có em như cô bạn. Nỗi nhớ đong đầy bao giờ mới khô cạn, khoảnh khắc bên nhau thời gian như ngừng trôi, vì em sở hữu sự hấp dẫn vô hạn. Yêu đơn phương cảm giác khó đọc tên, mọi thứ mù mịt giống như đứng trước bão. Mãi hy vọng chờ đợi ngóng trông đến ngày nụ hôn đó sẽ một lần được trao. Hương thơm ngọt ngào vương trên mái tóc em, gây nghiện cực mạnh anh ngày đêm ước áo. Quỳnh là loài hoa đẹp nhất trong bóng đêm, cuộc đời này u tối đang cần em bước vào. Đưa cho anh cái bản đồ vì anh sắp lạc bên trong đôi mắt kia. Hãy đưa cho anh cuốn từ điển vì cảm xúc.
To look at your life the same way a sprinter in the Olympics looks at his life. You've all heard of Usain Bolt, the man that won the gold medal twice, 2 Olympics in a row, broke the world record. I don't know anything about him, to be honest. But if I was looked at him, I would assume he goes to the gym. Right? If you look at him, he's pretty rich. He obviously sprints, he practices running, probably does a lot of long distance, he probably does a lot of stretching as well, I'm sure he gets massages. He looks like he eats the right kind of food. Drinks the right amount of water, takes vitamins. His whole day is so disciplined. For what? To prepare him for 9.57 seconds. I think that's what the world record is, right? For 100 meters, 9.5 or 9.57 seconds. His whole day is preparing him for that short time, not the other way around. A lot of people say, you know what, I need to be more concentrated. So you know what, I'm going to meditate in the morning. I'll sit down for 2 minutes. Okay, now I'm Zen master. And the remaining 23 hours and 58 minutes, they just go about being ordinary and crazy. How does that work? How would you change? It's not balanced at all. So if for 23 hours and 58 minutes you were not being concentrated, you allowed your awareness to jump from one thing in your mind to another thing, to another thing, to another thing, to another thing, in an uncontrolled way, what would you be good at? The best way to do it is pick a few opportunities in your everyday life. For example, we all speak with people. When I speak with somebody, I give them my undivided attention. I keep my awareness on them, and the conversation is really brief. Why? Because we're concentrated. We're not being distracted. A 10-minute conversation normally just takes 3 minutes because you're just so focused. And out of a prolonged concentration comes the wonderful power of observation. You just become more observant, and when you become more observant, you see solutions quicker and you solve things quicker. And it's a wonderful, powerful feeling when somebody is concentrated on you and not being distracted.
The only way to break a habit, you guys, is not to deal with the triggers. You're never going to get rid of the stress in your life, but you can 100% change your pattern of avoiding work.
It's this fear of discomfort. People have this extreme feeling in their mind when it comes to their associations with exercise.
Yeah. Khi say anh thường hay nhắc về em, mong khỏa lấp những u tối, khoảnh khắc về đêm nghe lại bài ca ngày xưa cũ. Ta hát về nhau nhớ những giấc mơ ta từng ước, to tát về sau. Và đó là khi mà anh dần lụy là không làm chủ chính mình, thấy không gian trở nên tồi tệ, mọi thứ bao phủ chính mình. Em đâu còn như điều anh mơ, anh cũng tự nhủ chính mình. Nhưng mà thôi em, nào ai giỏi mà đủ tính tình, chẳng thể vươn tới được cảnh cao dù anh có nhã ý trèo. Trong cơn say mọi thứ cuồng quay, anh trở thành gã chí phèo. Yêu chân thành là không thay lòng dù em có như thị nở. Ý anh là em như cô tấm, nhìn em như thị nở. Đêm vắng nàng ngón tay xám vàng vì đốt cả bao thuốc lá. Căn phòng chung ký xưa nồng ấm, bây giờ sao bút giá. Một thói xấu mà anh đã quen khi em không ở bên lâu. Anh thường ngồi trong một góc tối nhậu suốt cả đêm thâu. Em mang con tim anh đi đâu, khiến anh mù quáng vẫn cố sáng mỗi khi đau. Em mang con tim anh đi đâu, điều gì choáng váng để xứng đáng ướt mi nhau. Em mang con tim anh đi đâu, khiến anh mù quáng vẫn cố sáng mỗi khi đau. Em mang con tim anh đi đâu, điều gì choáng váng để xứng đáng ướt mi nhau. Đêm thâu anh đâu muốn nỗi buồn cứ dậy thêm đâu. Tên nhau anh cố gắng không nhớ để mà quên đau. Đào sâu trong ngàn điều muốn nói nhưng chẳng nên câu. Bao lâu để tổn thương phai mở đi những vết dấu. Vì sao thiếu em đời tôi như bài văn thiếu ý. Vì sao chỉ biết yêu thôi chẳng hiểu gì dại khờ. Khi con tim cần người không phải người cần dại khờ. Dấn thân mãi để kiếm trời dưới đất. Vội vàng mang ưu tư vào nhạc cất. Vội vàng tôi muốn tắt nắng đi cho màu đừng nhạt mất. Tương tư chiều cuốn cuộc đời theo hướng mặt trời xa đi. Tương tư chiều mà kỷ niệm ôi còn gọi ta chi. Biển tình dù bao la nhưng mặn chát đắng. Và biển anh không xứng là biển xanh, nhưng anh muốn em là bờ cát trắng. Yêu yêu là xuống cả địa ngục vì đã chót tin như là xuân diệu. Yêu là chết ở trong lòng một ít.
That's one of my first feeling that I could hit the ball from any part of the court and feel like I could do it with closed eyes and make it and know exactly where it's going.
It made an impression on me. And since then, for the past 33 years, I've looked in the mirror every morning and asked myself, if today were the last day of my life, would I want to do what I am about to do today?
If you try and change yourself according to thinking that, oh, I'm going to a different country, or, you know, I need to please, or I need to not be alien enough, or you're overthinking it.
So that's that one voice. This other voice that we walk very far away from is the voice saying, hey man, you ain't doing this. So what you have to do first is turn up this voice over here. The voice saying things to you that aren't nice.
Your body is like a race car that you can juice up yourself. Like, you can add the fat tires, you can add the improved suspension, you can beef up the horsepower in the engine. You can do all that yourself.
You have to be open to understand and accept the fact that you won't know everything.
Right.
And people won't know everything about you. So it's an education. I'm enjoying so much. You have to accept your uniqueness. Yeah, I want to do things that people... People are like, oh, she's doing that too. I look for things like that, whether it's acting, producing, I don't know what it'll be.
Sure.
I don't know.
If you want to be an anomaly, you have to act like one. Like, people want all these special things to happen, but then they're acting like everybody else. Victory. I wanted to win. Not like beat somebody else. It wasn't about that. I just wanted to go the distance. Everything in my life, when something got hard, I quit.
It's this whole new perspective on it. And I think I think the ease of suffering is always in presentness. You know, when you're in presentness, truly locked in presentness, there is no suffering. There can be pain, but no suffering. Suffering is something created by our own mind.
We all think our stuff is the best, and like, I get that. But yeah, that would be my advice, only because that also is liberating. To me, everything's about breathing, right? Like, to me, everything is about, like, take full ownership for everything, and then everything gets easy, because then you're in control. The more I did this, the more I gained confidence. And then the more I gained confidence, the more I realized I was just sacrificing. And then through that, all these different tools started coming up. But I would have never found these tools if I didn't put myself in a very uncomfortable place.